She was the heiress to a billion-dollar empire. He was a street beggar everyone ignored. So when she announced she was marrying him, the world went crazy. But what happened after their wedding left everyone speechless. This isn't just a love story, it's a twist of fate you'll never forget. In the heart of Barcelona, Spain, lived a woman named Isabella Moretti, a name that echoed through boardrooms, fashion houses, and charity galas. She was the CEO of Moretti Enterprises, an empire passed down through 3 generations. With her razor-sharp mind and unshakable poise, she built her name not just on legacy, but on her own fearless ambition. Everyone expected her to marry someone powerful, someone polished, a man with a net worth to match hers. But no one, not even her closest allies, could have predicted what she would do next. It all began on a rainy afternoon. Isabella had just exited a business conference and was waiting under the glass awning of a luxury hotel when she noticed a man sitting across the street. Drenched, wrapped in a torn blanket, and barefoot, he looked completely out of place in the polished, opulent surroundings. He wasn't begging. He wasn't calling attention to himself. He was just sitting there, eyes shut, hands in his lap, still, and something about that stillness made her pause. She didn't know it yet, but this man, Liam Carter, was going to change her life. The next day, Isabella returned to that same street with a warm sandwich and a dry hoodie. She wasn't used to doing this kind of thing, but for some reason, this one man had lodged in her mind. When she offered him the food, he looked at her in confusion, then suspicion. "Why?" he asked simply. "I don't know," she replied, handing it over. "Maybe because everyone else walks past you like you're invisible." He didn't say thank you. He didn't smile. But he accepted it. And that was the beginning. She started visiting more often. Not every day, but often enough to notice things. Like how he always read old books from the public library. Or how he never asked for help but would quietly assist elderly people crossing the street. There was something about Liam that felt offbeat, not broken, but like someone hiding from something. Months passed. They talked. They argued. They laughed. Slowly, she started canceling meetings just to sit on a park bench with him. And then, one morning, Isabella stunned the world with an announcement. "I'm getting married," she told her board members. Everyone clapped until she finished the sentence, "to Liam." The room went dead silent. Her assistant dropped her tablet. One of the board members laughed, thinking it was a joke. But Isabella wasn't smiling. "Are you being blackmailed?" someone whispered. "No," she replied calmly. "I love him." Social media exploded. Headlines across Europe screamed, "Heiress marries street beggar. Isabella Moretti's shocking engagement? Is this a stunt?" But Isabella didn't care. Her family disowned her. Her company stock plummeted. Her friends vanished. But she married Liam anyway. A small wedding. No media. No guests. Just the two of them. After the wedding, Liam didn't ask for anything. No shares in her company. No access to her mansion. In fact, he insisted they live in a modest apartment far from the city. For a while, life was quiet. Simple. Sweet. Until things started changing. He began staying out late. Receiving phone calls he didn't explain. She once saw a bruised knuckle and he just shrugged it off. One night, she followed him. What she saw nearly made her faint. Liam was inside a massive warehouse, talking to a group of suited men. At the center of the room, a wall-sized screen displaying financial data, logistics maps, and her company's name. Her blood ran cold. Who was this man? Isabella stood in the shadows, frozen. That warehouse wasn't some shady operation. It was a fully equipped control room. Computers, staff, live surveillance feeds. And Liam? He wasn't just in the room. He was leading it. She couldn't make sense of it. Just months ago, he was barefoot on a sidewalk, eating sandwiches she brought him. And now? He was barking instructions about import-export routes, pricing strategies, and tech patents. She stepped forward, her heels clicking against the concrete. Every head turned. Liam's included. His face paled. "Isabella," he said, walking toward her. "I can explain." "You'd better," she snapped. They drove home in silence. Once they were inside their apartment, Liam finally spoke. "My name isn't really Liam Carter. It's Leon Hartman." I used to run a startup that created logistics software for global retailers. We were on the verge of signing a major deal when my co-founder betrayed me. He leaned forward, his eyes hollow. He stole everything. My tech. My clients. He made it look like I was laundering money. I lost the company, the investors, my credibility, and my home. I went into hiding because I had no way to prove I was innocent. Isabella stared at him. So you faked being homeless? No, he said quietly. I was homeless. For 3 years. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want your pity. I didn't even want your help. But then I met you, and I thought, maybe I didn't have to be anyone else anymore. Isabella was stunned, angry, but deep down, also impressed. Because everything he said made sense now, the books, the strange behavior, the intelligence he couldn't hide even while pretending to be nothing. But it also meant he'd been lying from the start. The next few weeks were tense. Isabella returned to her corporate life, alone. Her board was still skeptical of her marriage, and the company hadn't recovered from the hit. Leon stayed away. She didn't ask where he was going. He didn't offer it. They slept in the same home but felt like strangers. And then came the breaking point. At an annual gala, Isabella was asked to give a speech. It was a big deal, a chance to regain respect in the business world. But just before she walked on stage, she saw something on the event live stream that shook her to her core. A headline flashed on screen. Tech genius Leon Hartman launches company with anonymous funding. As Moretti Enterprises as first acquisition target. Her heart dropped. Was this why he married her? To get back into business and take over her company? That night, she confronted him. You used me, she said coldly. You wanted revenge. That's what this was all about. Leon looked devastated. No, you've got it wrong. Then what is this? Why are you launching a company and targeting mine? Because your board has been planning to push you out, he replied. I found out months ago. They think you've lost your mind marrying someone like me. I couldn't let that happen. Isabella blinked. So you started a company to protect mine? He nodded. I got investors who believed in me again. I made a plan. If they remove you, I'll acquire the company myself and hand it right back to you. She couldn't speak. Her hands trembled. Every assumption she made was wrong. He wasn't taking her down. He was building a fortress around her. Days later, Isabella called an emergency board meeting. Leon walked in beside her, clean-cut, in a tailored suit, the complete opposite of the man they once mocked. She laid out a presentation with evidence, forged documents, manipulated contracts, board member betrayals. Everything Leon had uncovered. By the end of the meeting, half the board resigned. The rest voted unanimously to reinstate Isabella as full CEO, with complete control. Then, in a bold move, Isabella offered her own company a partnership with Leon's new tech venture. Everyone was stunned. But she stood firm. He protected me when I didn't even know I needed it. I don't just trust him with my company, I trust him with my life. In the weeks that followed, media outlets spun the story like wildfire. From street beggar to billionaire backer, the real story of Leon Hartman, Isabella Moretti's husband, just shocked the corporate world. Love, lies, and loyalty. How a homeless man saved his wife's empire. But for Isabella and Leon, it wasn't about revenge or headlines anymore. It was about finally being seen. Truly. By each other. A month after the storm had passed, Isabella Moretti stood in front of the iconic glass headquarters of Moretti Enterprises, sunlight bouncing off the steel and glass like a symbol of her new beginning. But this time, she wasn't standing alone. Leon Hartman stood beside her, not as a mystery man or a shadow from her past, but as her partner in life and business. Together, they were launching something bold, a joint tech luxury conglomerate, merging Leon's logistics software and AI capabilities with Isabella's luxury lifestyle empire. And they named it Harmore Global. From the outside, it looked like a PR stunt, a power move. But for them, it was personal. They'd both been to hell, one humiliated in her own office, the other sleeping on sidewalks, and now they were building an empire not on wealth alone, but on trust and second chances. Within weeks, business headlines exploded. From broken to billionaire, The real Heartmore story, woman marries beggar, builds an empire, fairy tale, or strategy? Couple's unlikely journey inspires millions to think differently about success. Some called them crazy. Some called Leon lucky. But the truth? Leon earned everything. Behind the scenes, he was working 20-hour days, building advanced AI systems that predicted shipping delays, consumer trends, and market crashes before they happened. Isabella wasn't just managing the branding, she was reviving dying departments, firing corrupt board members, and streamlining luxury operations in ways that tripled revenue. They weren't playing nice. They were playing smart. And together, they were unstoppable. Then, one day, a letter arrived for Leon. From Grant Langston, his ex-co-founder. The man who betrayed him, stole his tech, and left him for dead. He wanted a meeting. He probably sees our company exploding and wants a piece of it, Isabella said, not even trying to hide her disgust. But Leon just smiled. No, he said. He's scared. They agreed to meet at a rooftop restaurant downtown. Grant looked older, exhausted, and clearly nervous. I heard what you two are doing, he said. You've made something massive, Leon. Look, I want to apologize for everything. I was young, greedy. I lost control. Leon nodded but said nothing. Grant shifted. I'm willing to sell my company. It's failing. Investors are pulling out. I'd rather it go to you than to a vulture fund. Leon looked at Isabella, then back at Grant. Okay, he said. You're serious? Grant blinked. I'll buy your company. For $1. Grant's face dropped. You stole from me. Lied. Destroyed my name. You don't get a golden parachute, Leon said calmly. You get a lesson. And just like that, the man who once destroyed him walked away empty-handed. The acquisition made headlines instantly. Leon Hartman acquires ex-co-founder's company for $1. Says it's about closure. Hartmore Global sends shockwaves through tech world again. The beggar is now the billionaire, and he just taught everyone a lesson in grace and power. Isabella read the articles one morning while sipping coffee. What now? She asked him. Leon leaned back, thinking, I want to build schools in low-income cities. Teach real business, real tech, things no one teaches unless you're born into privilege. Isabella's eyes lit up. I'll help you. Let's create a foundation. They called it the Hartmore Way, a nonprofit aimed at bridging the gap between poverty and potential. And just like that, their story turned from survival to service. At an international conference in Paris, Isabella took the stage. Behind her was a slideshow, images of the past, of her company's fall, of a homeless man with nothing but a sandwich and a smile, and now, photos of schools, happy students, new businesses launched by young dreamers. She turned to the audience. 5 years ago, I married someone the world told me was a mistake, a man who had nothing. But what I learned is that someone can lose everything and still be worth everything. Applause filled the room, and in the crowd, Leon sat silently, proud, his eyes locked on the woman who once brought him food, and now shared his entire world. As the sun set over Monaco, Isabella and Leon walked along the pier hand in hand. Tourists whispered, recognizing them. Some stared. Others snapped photos. But they didn't care. Because they weren't building a brand anymore. They were living proof that people could rise from nothing, forgive the unforgivable, and build an empire out of ashes. And for anyone watching their story unfold, it was clear this wasn't just about love. It was about legacy.